Talk to me,
Hello there and welcome to Purpose Wednesday. I'm Latasha Morgan, certified Christian life coach, certified professional life coach, board certified master Christian mental health coach, and a whole lot of other good goodies, y'all. I've had an amazing day, and I pray that you have had an amazing day as well. I also pray that every day to come is even greater and more amazing than the one before. Listen. We are going to continue with Genesis chapter 1. We're going to be looking at Genesis chapter 1 verses 9 through 10 tonight. Our theme is when purpose emerges. We're going to focus on Genesis chapter 1 verses 9 through 10 from the King James Version. And it reads as follows. And God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. Genesis chapter 1 verses 9 through 10, the King James Version. Listen, I looked at that. And again, I did not want to look at it as I normally look at this scripture, like we just reading in the beginning. But what does it look like when I see it as myself? How can I see myself in this scripture? And what is God saying to me? What can he say to me about purpose here? Okay, so let's get into it, okay? We're not going to have a little drawn out teacher moment like before. But let's get into it. For the last 2 weeks, we've talked about Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 through 8, right? The first week, we talked about how God hovers over. We talked about light. When God begins with light and how he spoke and things took place. How when we speak, purpose can take place. We must apply the word to purpose, right? So we also talked about separation in the second week, how God separated the waters, right? And how he divided the waters, And we talked about the different boundaries that were being set. We talked about how water can show chaos, right? Danger, the unknown, and how God was hovering, moving upon the face of the waters and moving upon the face of the deep, right? So now we're going to talk about identity. First, let's point out what waters gathered in dry land. Also earth. What are those and how are they? Why are they important? Look, I got excited about this, but let's do this first, okay? So when we talk about waters, we're talking about life, purification, and divine provision. Water also can be chaos, danger, and the unknown. Land means stability, safety, and provision. And earth is groundness, stability, potential. Listen. And then we see that God gathered the waters into seas, right? And he saw all of that, and it was good. What I love about this text is that it's different. The book of Exodus, when God uses the east wind all night to blow back the Red Sea, right? When he parts the Red Sea, and the children of Israel are able to walk over dry land. And the good thing about the east wind is that it brings heat, evaporation. And so God didn't do that in the book of Genesis. He spoke and he gathered, right? And maybe you were not as excited about this as I am, but I looked at that as myself. What is God gathering so that my purpose can appear? Because when we see the waters, we see the ocean, right? Dry land is on the surface, on the bottom of that ocean are the waters, right? The seas, right? And like I said, we see that as chaos because there's always something, an undercurrent going on underwater. So I'm wondering, what chaos, what danger, what is in me? fear, distraction, confusion, all of those things, God is gathering together so that my purpose can be stable and grounded and show forth potential. Because that's my identity. My purpose is. See, the chaos, the fear, and the confusion, that's not your identity. That's the identity that the devil wants you to have, so that you can live in that and live outside of what God has called you to do, and live outside of the purpose and the identity that God says you are, that He says you are good, right? It wasn't a mistake. But the things you experience, the fear, the distraction, the chaos, and confusion were all for a divine purpose. Because just like in this text, and just like in the book of Exodus, the dry land represented potential opportunity, stability, a way when there was no way. There was only water. You did not see the land in the book of Genesis at first until God gathered together, until He separated and created boundaries. So, I guess we should just look at our lives and say that even though the waters of our lives, the chaos, the confusion, the distraction, all those things, the fear, we can also look at the part that waters can be life, purification, and divine provision. What is God gonna do with the chaos, the distraction, the confusion, the fear of my life? Well, the text here says that He gathered them into seas, right? It says that the gathering together of the waters called He seas. And when we see seas, we see provision, opportunities, and encounters. God brings what you need on time. What you've experienced, God changes into something that's going to bring provision and opportunities for you so that your purpose emerges and your identity is made known. Listen, good night, and thank you so much for watching Purpose Wednesday. I'll talk to you next week.
Talk to me,